Speaking of legacy, there's a lot of things that have happened with one particular man out of South Florida. He's obviously had run-ins with the law. He's become a rapper. He's become the president of Dahn Sports. He has obviously done a lot of things. But if we're talking strictly football, when this dude was on the field, he was unguardable pretty much everywhere that he went. Everybody talked about his work ethic being phenomenal. But now Antonio Brown stopped by Tyreek Hill's podcast and basically laid out his version of how everything went at the Raiders, at the Patriots, with the Bucs, at the Jets. It's the first time we're hearing that story. Feels like as soon as you listen to it, you're like, that's not real. That's not real. That's not real. How did that whole thing happen in your eyes from watching him and watching those clips to diving into everything that has taken place? And have we forgotten anything about the Antonio Brown story that you kind of resurfaced in your research after he talked about this on Tyreek's podcast?
I'm fascinated by the Buccaneers angle because I truly believe there's a lot more there that we don't know and that we won't know about Antonio Brown, Tom Brady. The way they tease this podcast, under the description on YouTube, it says, why Tom Brady really unretired. And I listened to the whole thing, all 80 minutes, and I didn't hear Antonio Brown talk about that. Maybe I missed it.
Oh, they got you. They got you. They got you. That's good.
But they got me. Clickbait, baby.
Yep.
But still, it was, I think one of the key things, the whole Alex Guerrero angle, that's something that Antonio Brown talked about, how he claims he paid Alex Guerrero $100,000 for extra training and treatment beyond what the Buccaneers naturally provide, and he's tied in with Tom Brady, and there was a lot of conflict over the ankle injury that Antonio Brown had, and one of the reasons he was ultimately upset, he paid all this money. Alex Guerrero eventually gives him the cold shoulder. This is all happening while they're trying to push him to play against the Jets in Week 17 of the 2021 season, and he believes he shouldn't be playing, and Brady tells him, I'm going to throw you a lot of footballs, and that's when he just eventually snapped. And he said, look, if y'all think I'm crazy, F all of you, and I'm out of here. But it makes me think there's more there that they're never going to tell us. Now, that's balanced by the fact that when he goes back to how things ended in Oakland, and he tries to create the impression he went to owner Mark Davis. This was even before they moved to Las Vegas, 2019. He goes to Davis and he says, just let me go and I'll give up my $30 million. Well, he overlooks one fact. After they let him go, he still tried to sue the Raiders to get his $30 million. So there may be some variations. There may be some discrepancies in the stories that Antonio Brown wants to tell.
Yeah, there might have been Rosenhaus, though, or whoever was his agent at the time being like, we got to go get that. Who knows how it unfolds, but it was fascinating, like taking a trip back in time almost while I'm listening to the clips. I didn't listen to the full 40 minutes, but I thought about that. Remember, he came in a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember, it was
on
like
Hard Knocks.
It was like a nice trip down memory lane. And then the Patriots situation where he said basically they called some stuff because we were killing it. It was too easy. Yeah. He said it was too easy. The NFL didn't want him to do it. That's why he ends up leaving the Patriots. And then he buried Robert Kraft on the way out.
Yes, he did.
There was so much to it. He was so fucking good at football, though.
Unbelievable.
That is why all of those things could happen after Pittsburgh, Oakland, New England, Tampa, inevitably ending with a Super Bowl and a touchdown in the fucking Super Bowl. All those things can happen because of how good he was at football. We have to remember that. Everything off the field, it's like, damn, I don't understand what all took place here, but hopefully we get it figured out.
Is it possible for him to not be super interesting whenever he does speak on camera?
Just anytime. Anytime.
I'm in.
If he's opening his mouth.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I'm there.
Think about all the stuff, though. Like people had different things they just thought of when they thought of Antonio Brown off the field.
Yep.
People just thought of different things, all very absurd and ridiculous and involving the law.
Yeah. Well,
still got shot after shot after shot after shot after shot after shot.
Yep.
If he was to just go away right now and just go train and nobody heard from him for 5-6 months, he'd get a job this upcoming season. He'd get a workout. He'd get a job because of how fucking good he was at football, AJ, which is why it's such a sad story almost.
Yeah, and how not only how good he was, but how hard he worked. Like, you hear that all the time. Like when he was there, like he's working his ass off every single day, one-on-ones. He wants to win every single rep, and guys see that. And so now you sometimes just have to deal with some off the field stuff, and we're seeing some of that now, I guess.
He said New England, they practice the hardest.
Yep.
They're the most detail-oriented. He said he loved it up there or whatever.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too. It's not even that, all the off-the-field stuff, of course, is terrible. And with the Patriots, he got the offense immediately, and there are so many players that come to New England that don't, get that. So like his football IQ and smarts is something that gets forgotten about just because of all the other shit and just getting home from the NO and a whole lot of money and all that.
You just got home from the NO. Sean Payton was a dildo. Deal though, not
No, dildo though. Is how he says
Dildo.
it.
Buffalo Bill.
Yes.
Deal though. Let's go to the phones. Sound like you're talking about a doubleheader.
No,
Oh,
it sounds like that's
dildo.
what he was talking about, but he dildo.
Deal though.
Right.
But when you said
really?
when
Are
you
you
said
sure?
when you bring up Antonio Brown's name, some people think of some things, and it all had to deal with like some lost things. Stuff. That's not what Ty thinks about.
Yeah, we know what Ty thinks.
Yeah, I mean, forever.
What?
Think about him getting his summer sausage smooched on.
By Double T.
Yeah.
What was that lady's name?
Tiana.
Trump.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, I thought they were talking about the swimming pool situation.
No, he was like
Oh.
trying to stick his fingies up her butt and like sticking his dong out of the water.
That was in Dubai.
That too.
Yeah. He was just having a good time, just hanging around.